Hi, everyone. It's David Ault, and I want to welcome you to The Gathering. On this episode, I want to talk to you about acceptance. So, first off, when you hear the word, what comes to mind for you? What is your definition of acceptance? I was reflecting back on my own personal history with that word, and I realized that long ago there was a sort of indoctrination around the word that somehow it meant to be defeated, or that it was woven with the connotation of weakness, as if I'm giving up. And as I have grown over the years in my path of exploration and spirituality, I've come to realize the power behind that word, or the power behind the meaning and the action of that word, acceptance. And so, what I have unveiled for myself is through my observation of wanting to change things that I am keeping at bay. I am resisting this powerful understanding of this important action of acceptance. So I see it every day. If you're on social media, for example, you will see how people get very upset around others' grammar or their belief systems or their religious ideology. You start to see this thing that gets sparked within an individual who cannot accept another person's lifestyle, belief system, or even their grammar. And so they take it upon themselves as if they're going to school that person. It's like they've self-appointed themselves as the cosmic police. And they do it often. And one of the things, I've done it myself over the years. I'm not exempt from that. And so what I have seen in that particular action from not being able to be in acceptance of other people and their path is a form of ego that gives off this energy that somehow we are better than them when we are doing that. We're going to teach them what is right. And I'm here to tell you that not one person that I know of, not one interchange from that egoic response has ever changed another person. Me going on and schooling someone about what I think is right has never convinced that person to move to my side of thinking. And so that's a little sliver of acceptance, because here in this particular example, we have the ability to see someone do what they do. And in my acceptance, I can say, well, that's where that person is, or that's that person's life, or their choosing. And it's not my responsibility, nor have I been appointed their police in order to change their behavior. And I can accept them for that. And it doesn't mean then that it's not the same as ignoring it. It means that I can learn to filter the world through my consciousness and not take it upon myself the false idea that somehow I am superior to any of it. I can accept it for the way in which it's playing itself out. There's a beautiful Hindu word called Leela, which is the cosmic dance. I can accept the Leela that is happening before me, and I can continue to do the work, the expression, the creativity, my being hopefully a vessel of heaven in my brand of being without having to make anyone else wrong. I can champion what I feel is right for me without having to defeat something. And so in that regard, what I'm doing is I am accepting the Leela that is playing itself out in the world without promoting my own inner suffering or castigating other people in the way in which they're doing the world. It's an interesting thing. And so one gets to pause and go, what is it within me that wants to do that? Why do I want to change other people so badly? Why do I want to convert them to my side of thinking? And it really goes into the very root of dualism, the ultimate illusion, the idea that there is an us and them. And our indoctrination of that is not a right or wrong thing. It just is. It is a part of this incarnation of souls. If you think of the soul, the oversoul, as one organism, it means that there is no us and them. There is no you and me. We're just a part of the one. And we come into this crazy game called being human, where it appears as part of the rules of the game is you have to abide by and grow and play in this illusion. And one of the ways in which you master this illusional gameplay is to reawaken to the idea that there is no us and them. That is the spiritual path. That is the returning home. That is the story of the prodigal son. That we're all prodigals, you see, when we go upon this quest that believes in the illusion. And when we start to accept that it is an illusion, then we can go about this human incarnation being in the world, but not being trapped by the illusion of the world. I can accept what's going on, and I can operate, I can help alleviate suffering, I can advocate, I can do all of the great things that help uplift humanity without being caught by the illusion of it all, by thinking that somehow I have to convince, I have to convert, I have to fix. And it just wears away sometimes at our egoic nature, because we're like, no, this is my responsibility. No, I have to do this, because it lights some kind of false superiority within myself. And it happens every day. It happens all the time. Acceptance. And so I had this beautiful email interchange, and they brought up my first book, which, quite frankly, I don't think about a lot or talk about a lot, because I have this thought in my head that I hadn't accepted, that one of the ills about being a writer is that we're constantly evolving. And so some of the things that we've written long ago don't necessarily match where we feel that we are right now. And I kind of dismissed this entire first book because I thought, oh my God, David, you are so juvenile in a lot of your thinking. And then I get this wonderful email from somebody who said that they used this book. It's called Where Regret Cannot Find Me. They used this book in a study club. And I thought, oh my God. And went on to say how thankful they were about me writing it. And I realized that there's another example of me not accepting where I have been in my evolution. And if I can't accept where I've been in my evolution and the components of creativity in each of those steps of my evolution, then I still don't grasp the enormity of what it means to accept ourselves fully and completely. Because I'm walking around unconsciously judging my creativity. Did you follow that? So I'm walking around. This email this week showed me how much I walk around unconsciously judging things from my past, because I think, oh my God, it's not good enough, or oh my God. And I'm sure that I speak for all creatives. I'm sure that I speak for all writers, painters, singers, musicians, sculptors, anybody who's offering their creativity. You know, we go back to the beginning stages of that. And I think sometimes we want to do this. And if you have created these things, then it's a part of the expression of the purity of where you were. And so I picked up the book and I started to thumb through it. And I came across this one section where I was writing about Zen wisdom. And I said there are three simple principles that parallel many other spiritual philosophies. And one is we each have an inner spark, a passionate dream or a purpose that beckons us to explore bringing this passion and this spark to life. And we've already possessed the attributes to make that purpose a reality. I still agree with that in some regard, that yes, indeed, there is a part of our own evolution that is already innately inside of us. And we must go about doing the work, putting one foot in front of the other to bring that fulfillment of that purpose to light. And how we do that is completely up to us. And the last thing, we must give up how it is supposed to happen. Giving up the how. And I saw that giving up the how is very much in correlation with acceptance. And I went on to talk about a period of my life where I had developed this cough and how that cough lingered and it created this chronic health issue way, way back, almost over 20 years ago. And that chronic health issue changed part of the course of my life. In fact, it was responsible for me writing this book because before that, I was on the road traveling all the time. I was a musician, I was a speaker, I was doing all of these things and I never stopped. And that cough forced me to stop. But at the time, I could not accept the cough. I spent a fortune, my life savings, trying to fix the cough. And what I see now in different language and from a different perspective was what that cough did was it forced me to my knees to accept the situation. And in accepting the situation, the uncovering of the fact that it was linked to a heart issue, the uncovering of the fact that it caused me to stop to write the book, it brought about a whole new trajectory of work at the time. It opened up a whole new arena of life for me because of the cough. But I was so focused on trying to fix and make the thing that I labeled wrong go away that in that forcing, it had to sort of strip me of everything before I could get to acceptance. And I never thought of it as acceptance. I was sort of telling it and viewing it from this place of I don't know. I guess it was a surrender, but I never really saw it as acceptance, like accepting the fact that this was a part of the Leela, that this was exactly perfect. And so, in that regard, in that reflection, I was thinking a lot about acceptance and how it's still a thing. You know, it's still a thing for all of us that we can't accept this mystery of humanity. And it is a mystery. We can't really fully grasp what polarity is, the yin yang, that for every amazing, beautiful, synchronistic, harmonious manifestation that we experience, we also have the polarity of that dance, the yin and the yang. And we want to celebrate the flow, but we want to curse the ebb. And what would it be like if we practice accepting it all? We practice accepting the fact that people behave the way that they behave. It's not my job to change them. What is my job? To accept where I am in my understanding and move forward accordingly. So I had this incredible privilege this last week to have a private conversation with the spiritual teacher Matt Kahn. And somehow this is the thing that erupted from that conversation. And I didn't tape it because we were so engrossed in this conversation that was supposed to be 30 minutes and went over an hour. And he said something that I did remember, that I did write down very quickly. He said, acceptance is a gracious thief. Acceptance is a gracious thief. And as I was talking about personal matters, he goes, I see that what you've done is that you've sort of danced in the intellect around a lot of these things, but you haven't accepted the fact that that's what happened to you. You're very good at coding everything with spiritual principle, but what is still missing is the acceptance that this happened to you. And he goes, acceptance then is this gracious thief that comes in and robs us of all of the lack of integration, of any, residue of bypass, so that we can completely feel all of the feelings around it. And so that we're not so much focused on how can I avoid being human, but how can I celebrate being fully human? And to celebrate being fully human means to accept everything about my humanness. The bags under my eyes, the aging, the all of the mistakes that I've made, the failures that I have sort of compartmentalized and listed in my head. All of the things, how can I accept all of them? And then he said this. He said, David, what I want you to do is practice giving it to God. And at first, when you hear that, it sounds very simplistic, but we went really deep with this idea of giving things to God. What does giving it to God mean? It means that I accept this situation. I accept this pain. I accept this diagnosis. I accept this disappointment. I accept this tragedy. I accept this feeling. I accept it. And then in my acceptance, the full acceptance of it is the same thing as then giving it to whatever God represents for you. If I don't accept it and I think that I'm giving it to God, I'm not giving the whole thing. I'm only giving a very polished, select portion of it to what I understand that power to be. But when I accept it fully, it's the same as then giving it to that which is the infinite, that knows far greater what to do with it than I do. If I don't fully accept it, I'm not fully giving it. And that's what I kept sitting with this week as I was digesting everything. And it's interesting because to give fully like that is a little discombobulating, because we don't realize how much we're trying to control everything. We don't realize that, let's say, we hosted some friends over for a dinner party last night. And so there were a lot of things to do, and planning and cleaning. And sometimes there were moments when both my partner and I were like, we were so tired from the work week. They were like, why are we doing this? And so I was like, okay, I'm going to give my tiredness to God. I'm going to accept that I'm tired rather than make myself wrong for being tired. How do I make myself wrong for being tired? What's going on? When you were younger, you could do this and that and the other. So I'm actually making myself wrong for feeling tired instead of accepting it. And then in my acceptance, I go, oh, here, take my tiredness. I'm not making a big deal out of it. I'm not making a scenario in my head for not having the stamina that I should have. Acceptance then is giving up the how, but it's also giving up the should. Giving up the should. It's giving up anything that my ego that is bought into the illusion is saying that I'm not doing it right. And when Matt and I were talking, which was just such an extraordinary gift, he said it's going to feel discombobulating at first because we're not accustomed to doing that. And he goes, but you understand what that will be like because you've done it on occasion. But to give it all to God, every day, every moment, every thought, every action, every dream, every purpose inside, giving it to God rather than thinking, okay, my humanness has to figure this out. So, acceptance and giving it to God. What are you hearing in my telling, in my I'm accepting how I'm trying to tell this, but what are you getting from this? Let me know. What is this? How is this different than how you're operating right now? Are you aware that you're not fully accepting every moment, every second, every action, every behavior? Are you and I fully accepting the fact that our siblings, our family, they're not behaving the way that we want them to behave? Are you accepting the fact that the government or the IRS or the bank account or the broken promise or the abandonment or the being thrown under the bus, are you able to accept all of that and just go, wow, okay, I'm accepting that and I'm feeling it and now I'm giving it to God. Now I'm going to give it to the power that knows what to do with it. And I'm going to keep listening, deep listening, and surrendering my purpose, my karma yoga, my participation in the lila, the dance. I'm going to keep surrendering it all. And when somebody wants to make it wrong, I'm going to accept it and I'm going to surrender it to God. When I'm going to give it to that which knows better what to do it than me. And all of a sudden, you start to see a lot of the things that we've been talking about over the course of the last couple of years, all through the pandemic, the whole principle of woo-wee, do nothing extra. It's been a huge gift for me, that Zen principle of do nothing extra. Meaning, it doesn't mean do nothing. It means that whole extra is the part that I haven't been accepting. The extra is the part that I haven't surrendered or given it to God. And so you have to listen to this at a particular level. I had to listen to it in a way that I'm not doing that. I really am secretly trying to still manage everything from the personality, the persona of David. What if I stop doing that? What if I show up fully, but I'm not going to manage or police anything? I'm just going to be the vessel, be the channel, be the instrument. And what if you did that? I want you to notice how loudly the voice inside screams, but you don't know. It's that thing they call aboutism. But what about isms? But what about this and what about that? And notice how loud the aboutisms want to scream. Acceptance. Acceptance is a gracious thief. There it is. There's your thing to contemplate and to reflect on today. And I do want to add that if you find these messages inspiring, I hope that you will consider supporting right livelihood by means of our organization, non-DDoS, at nonDDoS.com. Information is in the with the video that's posted and how to donate. So thank you for that support. It has continued to allow us to host retreats and to reach out to a whole new generation of people that are on the path and are looking for things. And just recently, a few weeks ago, we were able to scholarship a lot of young people on a retreat over the Easter weekend at Just Love Forest here in Atlanta. And it was meaningful for us and meaningful for them to be in spiritual community. And we realize that there are people in all different types of financial situations, and to be able to make things affordable and available is a key component of our dynamic and what we're all about. And so thank you for supporting us, which allows us to make that available. So see the information there. And until next time, acceptance. Acceptance is a gracious thief.